Africa due to the absence of international food corridors, which makes African countries vulnerable to shocks related to international supply chains. How do you read the warning?
Yes, of course, and we are doing our best to make a sort of common understanding. The warning, we need this sort of warning in order to make all the partners in the whole world know exactly what we are facing and to start cooperating in order to face it, because none of us in the whole world can avoid the disastrous situation of food security and the lack of food here or there. And such an effort is a sort of adding more and more to our diplomatic efforts, and we are doing fine in our diplomatic relations nowadays, much more than we ever have done before.
And sir, what development priorities, in your opinion, need to be addressed ahead of the UN Food System Summits?
I take it one step by one step. What we are lacking in the Arab world, we do produce machines, we do not produce means of transport, and the most important thing, we do not produce enough food for the whole Arab world, and we have a food gap by $50 billion we are importing every year in the Arab world. So while we have Sudan, we have Iraq, we have Syria, Egypt and Morocco, all of us can expand their production of food. So I give agriculture big priority, and especially producing our food. This is big security issue.
So, sir, financing investments and expanding the use of innovative financing instruments were given weight by Cairo during the preparatory meetings. How would you elaborate on the importance of financing and use of innovative financing instruments to deal with food insecurity?
Thank you for this question, because this is a very important issue, finance.
Yes.
And during the summit of Europe and the Arabs in Sharm el-Sheikh a few years ago, our president issued a sort of proposal in order to use the Egyptian experience in Africa, which is very good, and the African land with the finance from the developed countries. And we had since then a couple of positive reactions from Japan and from China. China now started to invest in Africa with the Egyptian experience and the soil of Africa. I hope if we can expand this idea, finance from the donors countries, experience of Egypt and the African land, even some Arab land. Finance is a very important point, and I hope that the Arab Fund for Development can give a hand to this, but we need also that the Arabs who are investing abroad much more than they are investing inside their countries, we hope this will be changed, and to give us also priority of finance. The word finance is a big secret there.
Sir, Cairo called for promoting intra-African trade, taking advantage of the strategic location of the Suez Canal in this regard. How do you read the statement?
Yes, we have a couple of things in our mind here. That the Africa relations is getting much more development than before since we established the All Africa Free Trade Area. It makes our exports to Africa augmented by 4 times. This is a good news, but we need to make it more and more. And also I say that if you want to increase trade with Africa, trade by itself it wouldn't stand. We have to invest in Africa, to invest by producing our food. Also, one prime minister in Africa, Simon Rashid Achou of Cameroon, told me, come here and teach us how to learn to have the industry of canned food. They do not have this. And if we teach them how to produce canned food, this will make a good reservation of food everywhere.
Yes.
So the sky is the limit, and we have many, many ideas to do this. Also, Egypt is saying, Egypt is not asking the assistance of anybody. We want Egypt to be a good opportunity for a good investor coming to invest in our country in order to seek our market, which is 100 million inhabitants, but the most important is our external market, which is 400 million Arabs, 500 million Europeans, and 1,200 million in Africa. This is a market of 2,000 million inhabitants, where our commodities, if we export to any of those countries, we are exempted from tax duties. This is a very good way to improve the situation and to make our export much more.
Finally, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And the viewers, back to our reports from the African continent, and overnight clashes in Libya killed, in Libya's capital rather, killed at least 6 people. An emergency medical service reported the casualties Tuesday, with local media earlier saying an armed group leader was among the dead. Here is the full story.
Reporters in Libya said they heard heavy arms fire and explosions in several areas of the capital Tripoli from 9 p.m. 1900 GMT on Monday, as violent clashes between rival armed groups rocked the city. The Emergency Medicine and Support Center said 6 bodies have been retrieved from the sites of clashes around Abu Salim in Tripoli. Libya's Al-Ahrar television and Al-Wasat news website said that Abdel Ghani El-Kikli, leader of the support and stability apparatus, was killed. The report said he was likely ambushed in Abu Salim, a southern district of the capital where his influential armed group is based. Authorities had urged residents to stay indoors before saying several hours later that the fighting had been brought under control. Local media said clashes broke out in the southern suburbs between armed groups from Tripoli and rivals from Misrata, a major port city 200 kilometers east of the capital. Libya is struggling to recover from years of unrest following the NATO-backed 2011 uprising that led to the overthrow and killing of longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi. The North African country is currently divided between a UN-recognized government in Tripoli and a rival administration in the east controlled by the Haftar family. The Tripoli-based government announced in a statement early Tuesday that a military operation to restore security and stability in the capital had been successful. Prime Minister Abdelhamid Beiba, in a post on social media platform X, thanked government forces for restoring security and asserting the state's authority in the capital. Despite relative calm in recent years, clashes periodically break out between armed groups vying for territory.
And almost 500,000 children in Somalia face severe malnourishment and are at risk of dying from hunger. An NGO sounded a warning Monday, just as international aid operations are scaled back. Details follow.
Somalia is one of the world's poorest, enduring decades of civil war, climate disasters and a rebellion by Al-Shabaab. The country only recently began a recovery from a long-running drought, while widespread flooding in 2023 saw almost 1 million people displaced. CARE International said the number of severely malnourished children under 5 had increased to 1.8 million, citing projections by a UN-backed monitoring body dated March 29. It said that of these, 479,000 are expected to be severely malnourished and at risk of dying without urgent help. CARE International said the country's malnutrition crisis is accelerating faster than predicted.
And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of our program Africa Today. Thank you for watching.